Right, hello and welcome guys, and in this tutorial video we'll be looking at the HackTheBox machine called Chaos. This box, like the name sounds, very chaotic because it includes a lot of encryption, decryption, harvesting credentials, also shell escape before you actually get root on the box. So basically the box begins with enumeration, finding out there's an IMAP web server running on the box. We log in by getting the credentials to the web server. We log in, we access the folders within the mail server, get a email that's been drafted on the box, decrypt the message, and also the message, we found out the message is encoded, and then we have to decode the message, and then we get an access to a hidden directory which is actually running a latex PDF creator. So we find an exploit for command injection to inject commands into the PDF LaTeX page, and then we get a shell as a low privilege user. This user is restricted to an R-bar shell, so we try to bypass the shell escape, and once we escape the shell, we're able to access the user directory where we find Firefox installed on the box, and then we try to use another tool to extract password that's been cached in the Firefox browser, and then use this to authenticate as the root user. So that's the summary of the box, and let's just see how I solve it. So the first thing we need to do is to run an mmap scan. I've already done this, so if I just cap the results, we can see straight away here we've got a whole bunch of open ports and services running. So we've got Apache on port 80, we've got Dovecot IMAP running on port 143, also got SSL enabled, and that's why we can see port 993, port 995 as well for the post office protocol. So if you know how web services work, they use IMAP and post office protocol to retrieve email messages from that's been sent to the mail server. So this is what the user calls this protocol to actually download emails to their inbox. We also find an HTTP service running on port 10,000. So straight away, what I did was to run GoBuster on this and also try to see exactly what's running on this Apache web server. So we go on straight away to, just going to make this font a bit bigger. So we do GoBuster, and we do HTTP 10. So we have to provide a -u flag, and then we do HTTP. If I can type properly, so do 10.10.10.120. And then we supply the word list. For this, I'm using USR share, and I'm going to do word lists. And the buster. And also we go for the, let's have a look. Yeah, so we go for the directory list 2.3 medium file, and just give that to run in the background. So open up a web page and then access 10.10.10.120, and we'll get this message saying directory IP not allowed. So let's go back to our directory scan, and we can see we got a result WP and JavaScript. So the first thing I did was to have a look at this /WP. We see we've got a WordPress directory, and once we open it, we have access to a WordPress website. So looking at this real quick, it says protected chaos. This content is password protected. To view it, you have to enter a password. So I tried, default name like password, nothing. I also put in chaos as the password, and that didn't work. So because this is WordPress, the next thing I did was to say, right, maybe we can use WP scan, which is a scanner specific for WordPress. and we have a look at the help page, and we see we could probably enumerate themes. You can enumerate users as well. So we run wscan -URL. We provide the directory for that 10.10.120 and /wp/WordPress, and we use the enumerate flag U to enumerate users. So this way, apart from just enumerating users, we'll also try to see if there are some vulnerabilities on this version of WordPress. As you can see, it's identified a version of WordPress, and we might get the version number here. So not quite sure if that information is displayed here. So you're updating from a version using automatic updater. You're updating from a version 2.0 or higher. So probably looking at some sort of WordPress there. But this is finished, and we got this. The name is 2017, so version 1.7, and is the WordPress version we're looking in here, or I mean the theme we're looking in here. WordPress theme in use is called 2017, and we find a host all other vulnerabilities here, but most of them is probably cross-site scripting exploits. So file upload to XSS on Apache web server. We have an authenticated code execution here. I looked at this, it wasn't too promising. So what I did was, maybe we could try this word human to see if this is going to work as the password. So we'll go back in here, provide that as the password, click on enter, and when we look at it, it's actually the right password. And it says here, credits for webmail, user Ayush, passwords, Jiu-Jitsu. So I'm just going to copy this, and probably this might be useful, but the hint here is saying credits for webmail. So in our directory here, I'm just going to save this as credentials, paste this here, and then try to see how we could access this webmail. So if you remember from the results of the scan, we found a port 10,000. So the next thing I did was to go over here and access that port, since it's an HTTP port, 10,000. And it says error document follows, web server is running SSL mode. So we have to open this. And the website it we presented with is webmin. So I tried the username and password again. Ayush. We could cut the creds to get the password. Paste that in here. And we get login failure. So my call was probably this is a troll because this is webmin. And if you go back to the WordPress page, this actually says webmail. So my next thought was probably we can use this to log into the IMAP server we found initially as from the result of our scan. So we'll try accessing this over SSL. So the syntax is open SSL and dash, I think s_client it is, dash connect, and click on enter. No. Right, we have to provide the IP address 10.10.10.120 and on port 993, and straight away we could see we've somehow had a connection to the server because the server is saying Dovecot Ubuntu ready. Most importantly, when we look at this, we could see that yes, we are getting response from the server called Chaos. We could see the self-sign certificate here. We could see some other information regarding TLS version 1.3, public key encryption, some all other information regarding the self-sign certificate used on this webmail. So the next thing I did was, right, we might log in. So in order to the commands is you have to specify everything on a line and you have to specify everything. So if I want to write a command, I have to start with line 1, write the command, and then I get a response from the server. Because mail servers, such as an IMAP server we've got in this scenario, is very interactive. So you send a request and then you get a response from a sort of a client server scenario. So the first thing I do was to use the login command to log in as Ayush using the credentials and then the password. So Ayush, the password, click on enter, and then we could see now we're logged in. The next thing I did was to then use the list command to list whatever we've got here. So this will list the folders or the directories, the folders, especially within the mail server. So two quotation marks and then quotation wildcard asterisks and then quotation marks. And then this lists the drafts, the sent, and the inbox. So we can then use the examine command. So the first thing I did was to examine the inbox. So we do examine inbox, and oh, bad error there. So I'm just going to type in 3, examine inbox. And here it says 0 exists, 0 recent, so there's nothing in there. So we send a line 4, we do examine, and then we can examine the sent. Once again, we say there's nothing in here because we see 0 exists. So we go for 5, and then we do examine again. And this time around, we examine the drafts. And straight away, we could see we got 1 exists. So there is something within this folder. There is a mail or draft mail within this folder. So in order to access that, we have to then use the select command. So we do 6, line 6, select, and then we go for drafts. So we selected it from the draft. So, and then what we could do, we could fetch, we could use the fetch command to fetch the email. So we do fetch 1 body and put this brackets, and straight away we can see the email message. So here we'll see there's an email which is from a user called Ayush on localhost, and user agent roundkey webmail 1.3.8, and then we can say the message say hi, hey, check this end message.txt. You are the password, so that probably we're saying the password is Sahey. Also attached the script I used to encrypt. Thanks, Ayush. So if you look at this closely, this tells us the start and the beginning of the message. So the file size of the message is 272 bytes, and this is the encrypted message. So we could copy this. This looks like base 64. So I'm just going to cd into HackTheBox, cd chaos, and nano enim underscore message.txt, the name was. I'm going to paste in the base 64 message. And then going back here, we see the Python script as an attachment, which is called encrypt.py or en.py. So I'm going to copy this as well. Go in here and do en.py. Open that up and paste that in here. So I don't think there's anything else we could do with this. So I'm just going to end this. So if we have a list now, we have this. And the next thing I did was to base64 decode this Python script. So we could base64 decode to see exactly what's in here. And you can see straight away we got a Python script, which, so we got a function there that receives the key and the file name, calculates chunk size, and then generates an output name by adding en plus file name, calculates the file size, calculates an initialization vector using a random generator function, and then this is then used to encrypt the file using AES. So we have the AES algorithm, the IV, and the key, and then it's goes about writing this file, performing the encryption operation on the file. And then this is actually the function that performs this operation. So this function here, this get key password. So when you run this, you will then supply the password, which is then used to encrypt the file. So basically, this is what this does. So my next thought was probably this is a script that you can find online. And I was lucky to find one that was very, very similar to this. So I already bookmarked this. And if I go into, I think it was this, if I'm right. Yeah, so this is the script. And if we compare the script to what we've got here, we could see it's literally the same file or the same script. So I'm just going to make this always on top. So we can see here, we've got the similarities as well, apart from the functions that were imported. So we have the random generator, encryption algorithm as well, and the part which actually decrypts the file. So you have another function being defined here that performs the decrypt operation as well. So the next thing I did was to say, right, this is the file we need to use. So I just copied this, copy the file, and I just call this, let's call this nano chaos.py, paste this here. And if we examine the script properly, I think the only difference is in the original script that we found on the mail server, this is actually called en. So I'm just going to make this change, en file name, save the file. So now we've got the original encryption file that we got from the mail server. We've got the text, and then we've got the new one, which you're going to use. So if I do Python chaos.py, can't even spell Python right. And it asks us what we want to encrypt or decrypt. So I say decrypt, we get an error. Okay, and that's because in the file is using the inputs as the function to actually receive the string. And this is actually showing that if this was raw input, then Python 2 will work. So this file has to be used with Python 3. Anyway, so before we get to that, the next thing I did was, right, this file, we also have to, if we cut this file, we could see is base64 encoded. So the next thing I did was to say, right, we could have enim underscore message.txt, pipe that into base64, decode, and then say that to decoded.txt. So let's just name this decoded.txt. And it's saying invalid input. So let's cut this file again and see what happened there. Right, I can see here I copied the last part of the file, and that's why I'm getting that error. So I have to edit this. So I shouldn't have copied that hash when I copied this. And this is the line it's complaining about. Perform this operation again, and then we're going to get an error. So if we cut the decoder.txt now, we just got gibberish, which is showing this file is actually encrypted. Another thing we could do is we could use CyberChef. So if I do CyberChef, so let's just the initial message, which is this, and supply this into CyberChef. So we know this is base64. So I'm going to put this as the inputs, and we got the from base 64, and we can see from base 64 decodes this. But if I then use this as the input, copy this, delete this off as the input, paste, and we could do file, detect file. It tells us unknown file type. Have you tried checking the entropy of this data to determine whether it is encrypted or compressed? So CyberChef is suggesting that this is encrypted. We do know it is encrypted from the email message we got, but it can't actually identify the kind of file it is. And that's the same thing we've got here. So the same sort of data. So you might want to do it this way, or you might want to use CyberChef to try to identify if this is a certain type of file type, which probably you might want to decrypt. So now that we have the decoded.txt, we can then run our Python script. So Python chaos.py, and we supply decode. I have to use Python 3, forgot again. Decode, access source for the file name, and I think it was decoded.txt. Password is Sahey, and then we get an error. Don't know what the error is now. So my guess is it probably has to have this name beginning with the EN. So what I'm going to do is copy this and name this enum 1 underscore message txt. Perform the operation again, decrypt, provide the file name, Sahey, and now it says done. So we didn't get that error. So I think it's looking at this as the beginning of the file. So if we do a list now, we get a new file name called xt. So if we cat this, which should be the decoded file, we get a base 64, and then copy this, cat that, and pipe that to base 64 dash decode. So I should have used echo there. So we could do cat xt, pipe that to base 64 dash decode. And there we go. We've successfully decrypted the file. It says here, hi Sahey, please check the new service which create a PDF. And as I told you, as you told me to encrypt important messages, I did. And this is the site. So if you open up this site, it's not quite resolving. So what I need to do is go into nano/etc/hosts, and I need to. So I already did this before by resolving the DNS for chaos, and what I need to do now is to do chaos.atb. Add that to the host name. We try to open that message again, open link, still not getting it. So let me just type this in. We'll probably copy link, paste the link, still not resolving. So I might have to, let's see, history, clear everything in my cache, close this down, and then open this link again. There we go. So now we have access to the chaos.atb site, and here we got this stuff to create a PDF. So if we do hello, create PDF, nothing happens. So the next thing I did was to fire up Burp Soup to try to explain what exactly is going on in the background. So click on next, stop. burp suite. Make sure intercept is on. Go on to proxy, enable burp, refresh the page. And if I go in here, I can see the request, send this to repeater, turn this off, click on go. I got the 200 OK, but from the response, we could actually see test PDF maker. So the next thing I did was to say, right, could we probably run GoBuster to see if there are any hidden directories here. So GoBuster -u, supply this. And then we supply a word list. So we have USR share word list, the buster / directory list 2.3 medium.txt. Try to see if we can find anything, and straight away we could begin to see hidden directories like templates, PDF, and doc. So we could put this in to say templates. Then we get 3 directories. 2, 3. Let's open. Okay. And by opening this, we could then see that this is actually sort of a LaTeX template. So LaTeX is a sort of a PDF creator. So most people that write articles or write papers normally use LaTeX for the formatting of the document in order to make it look presentable, especially a lot of publishers or journal article also use LaTeX as the template for actual publication. So we can see here this PDF generator we found earlier on the web page is actually using LaTeX. So the next thing I did was to do payload all the things. And if we go to this, payload all the things, we could find LaTeX injection. And when we see this, we could actually use LaTeX command injection to read a file. We could write a file. But the one we're interested in is actually command execution. So it's saying you could use immediate write env, and then you put the command in which you want between these braces, input output, and probably be able to get make code execution. But I think after looking at this, I got a bit confused. So I went for the references to see maybe that will offer more detail. And this was I think the interesting one, which led me to the exploit. So we have a look at the executing commands. So it says you can use immediate to execute commands. So we can actually use this to execute commands. So my thought was, right, copy this, go into the PDF page. So we can see here we got a template. Then paste this here. So going back to this, it says the above M command will likely throw an error. So a workaround is to base64 encode the output, and you might use the input command to do both steps at once. So let's try this out and see what happens. So going back here, I could just put in the command, the Linux command ID, and the output. I'll leave the output as this. And we also have to put in -n document, as because the LaTeX actually ends the template with end/document. So we can see that the template we want to use is 3 because 3 is the only one that has the LaTeX template. So we go back in here, turn on intercept on, create PDF, send this to repeater, and we click on go. And then we get it saying blacklisted commands. So we might just try to base64 encode this, because from the blog, if you remember here, it says the workaround is that you have to base64 encode the output. So let's see if that's going to work in burp. So right click, convert selection, URL, or base64 encode, click on go. And straight away we could see we get some results. So it probably shows it worked. However, we can't see the output, but it says file created, download this file here. So let's see if we go here, probably we can find the output. So we copy this, go in here, paste and go. Proxy, so I have to turn proxy off, refresh this, can't find the page. Let's go in here to see have we got anything in PDF. Nothing. So let's try that again. So in repeater, click on go, go in here, let's paste this again here, paste and go. And it's saying the URL is not on here, so it's the HTTP. Right, so I think if we remember, this is not the direct, this is the actual directory we go into. So this has to be PDF, probably that's why I can't find the file. And we could copy this extension, PDF extension, over here, see if we got anything. I'm just going to copy this into another, to back here, paste and go. And there we go. So we can see we do have some sort of command injection, because this is actually writing to this template. Going back here, we could see the JTF. So this is the encoded command. So the ls command which we sent, or the command we injected into this LaTeX page, we could actually see this is the same stuff that has been written to the file over here. So we have a sort of code execution going on. So the next thing I did was to just go to Pentest Monkey, reverse shell, and we go to reverse shell cheat sheet. And the one I went for was this Perl one. So we could go back in here, put this, paste this here, but we have to change the IP address. So I have to grab what my IP address is. So we could do if config. My IP address is 10.10.10.14.47. So we can change that here. Change the port number to 9002. The interesting thing is, if we go back here, it says, bypassing blacklist, because the first time we ran this, we got this blacklisted sort of issue. So one way he says you can bypass this is to write the input in a different way. So if you have a look, we could bypass blacklisting apart from base64 encoding. You could blacklist by writing the inputs in such a way that the bypass, so you could use the def command, or you could write input in this sort of a way. So that's what I'm going to do. So we're going to go back in here and write our input to be input, so IMP slash, and then we put IPUT, and I'm just going to leave it at this. So let's set up a reverse shell listener, netcat NVLP 9002, and I'm just going to send this to see what happens. Create PDF. And there we go, we've got a shell. All right, so we've got a shell on the box. And if we do who am I, I'm www.data, so we could do which Python, and then we get a response. So we could say python-c import pty dot spawn, and we could do bin bash. And there we go. So we're in this directory as data chaos. So the first thing we could do is to see what users are on the box. So pass wd. You can see we got a user called Ayush in this directory. So we can just go in here, so we can cd into this directory. So it says permission denied. Say clear screen. So we can just do export term equals screen and clear screen. Yeah, we're able to clear screen. So the next thing I did was to say, right, we have a password to a user called Ayush. So I'm just going to do su Ayush, and we could cat creds and try this password. Paste in the password, and we use Ayush. So Ayush can cd to home, and then we see ourselves in a restricted shell. So a restricted shell doesn't allow us to execute normal commands. So you can see we type in ls, and it says bash command restricted. If you do pwd, we can actually see pwd is allowed because it tells us the directory we are in. If we do stuff like if config, it also tells us that that command is restricted. So the next thing I had to search for was to do shell escape Linux. So we can have this one by exploit db. So Linux restricted shell bypass, and it says introduction, enumerating Linux environment, command specialization technique. So you can try any of these commands, but if you can see, if dash or if the forward slash is allowed, then you can run some of these commands. So as we can see, the forward slash command is not allowed, so it means most of the stuff we would try here is not going to work. So we go to the advanced level, and then we could try some of these techniques. So let's move to this. If we could try SSH, we know SSH is not installed on this box, so most of this will not work. But the one I tried was actually in line 8, which is using the tar command. So here, if you say tar, it says, you can see here we get a response. So you must specify one of these So it shows the tar command is allowed. So we can just use the technique instead. So I'm going to copy this, I'm going to format this properly. Format this properly. Okay. So let's have a look. Let's try this and see what happens. Let's copy this, paste that here. ls. Think there is an error here. Think checkpoint action. Should be a space between that. Copy this tar. ls. Go back here again and change this one line. So I'm going to copy from here up onto the bean bash. List. Right, and you see we've probably escaped the shell because now that we're running the ls command, we can see now it's saying command ls is available in bin ls. So the command cannot be located because bin is not included in your path environment variable. So we could do echo. If we echo our path to see our path, we can see this is actually our path in home. So what we need to do is to set our path to be this part, which is /bin. So export path equals $path, and then we set the path to /bin. And now if we do export, or if we do echo, echo path, we can see now that we've got bin in our path. So if we don't command ls, it works. All right, so we'll be able to put ls in our path. So when we execute this list command, Linux will actually go searches the directory, doesn't find the command, but then it goes here because we put /bin our path, finds ls in this directory, and then executes it. So now we could go to the home directory, could clear screen. So do the same thing, export term equals screen, clear screen. Don't know why this isn't working. Clear. No. Okay, so if we do list, we could see a use. And if we do a list, we can see the user flag. So wc-c user.txt. Now it's complaining something to say the command cannot be located because this is not in our path. So like we did before, we need to export path to this as well. So we could do export path equals $path, and then we provide this there now. So if I do a list, that works. wc-c user.txt, and there we go. We have the 32 characters of MD5 and also line space. And now if we do clear, we should be able to clear screen, and that works. So now we have user privilege escalation. So like I mentioned at the start, after enough enumeration, we can see we got this Mozilla hidden directory. So we cd into Mozilla, and then we can see extensions in Firefox. So getting some hints actually helped with this because it was difficult to figure out exactly what you needed to be doing here. I tried looking for binaries, SUID binaries, or there's a misconfiguration. I couldn't find any on the box. There might be other ways to root this box. However, this was the method I used. So We could just search to say extract password Firefox GitHub. So there is a script you can use. So it says, if we go to README, so it'll say Firefox descript tools to extract passwords from Firefox and Thunderbird profiles. And all you have to do is just run this command against the directory, so where you find the profile. So let's see if we can find the profile within this directory. So if we go cd Firefox and do a list, we can actually see the profile here. Okay, so that's the directory we need to get this to. So cd/temp, and then we could download this script. So let's go back, get the script. Control A, copy the script, go on to my box and do Firefox .py, paste this here, and then if config it's on 0, so that's my IP address, set up a Python server 80. So we have a Python listener there, and here we're going to do wget http / Firefox, was it called, .py to download the script. So we got the script, and now we're going to do Python Firefox .py and provided that directory. So we could go to home, aush, and /.mozilla /Firefox, I think it was. So just do enter now. So command Python not found, right? So pardon me not being able to spell Python correctly. Just going to provide this again, and hopefully it should work. So it says the master password for the profile. So I'm just going to provide the master's password to be the same password we had earlier on. So let's go back here and say cat creds. This is actually the master password. Let's try this. Paste that here. And there we go. That works. So we can see this is the website and username and password. So this is actually the website for the webmail we found earlier on. So root, and this is the password for root. So let's just copy this. Copy su root, and then paste the password in, and we're root. So we can go cd root, and then list, and then that's the root flag. Char touch the c root.txt. So that is the box. However, I'm going to look at this to actually see if, because I think there's an exploit for this, to see if this exploit is going to work. So, that is the box in a nutshell. But if we go back to the HTTP chaos.atb on port 10,000. So, and we do root, put in the password for this, sign in. We actually get logged in to webmin 1.890. So I'm just going to see, I think there's an exploit for this. Webmin exploits db. So we have a remote command injection for this, not verified. So the one we're looking at is webmin 1.890. So I'm just going to see if this exploit is going to work. Let's go back here. So this exploit was released in 2019 in January, and it's actually a Metasploit exploit anyway. So let's see if I fire up Metasploit, maybe I'll be able to use this. So MSF DB. So I'm just going to copy these credentials, go into a notepad. And we go back here. So I'm going to search for webmail. It was webmin, I think. Webmin. So upload remote command authenticator RCE. So probably this is the exploit. Use. So this the hard host. So say hard host 10 10 10 120. So guess upload false. Password. Set password. And we're going to set the password as this. Also set username as root. Set host top 0. Exploit. Let's see what happens with this. We got a shell. Got a shell on the box. So the exploit actually works if you know the username and password, and is actually saying we're root. So we could do python-c import pty dot spawn. We do /bin bash. Yeah, and we root on chaos. So cd root, and we could, yeah, so that's basically it. So there is a Metasploit exploit that works if it's authenticated. But however, there is no way you're going to be able to guess this password or be able to brute force your way in. It's interesting to know that this exploit actually works. Right, so I hope you guys have enjoyed this, and take care, and I shall see you some other time. Thank you.